This day is born a Savior, Christ the Lord. The angel had sent them to the stable. And then the sky was filled with angels saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
Glory to God! Glory to God in the highest! And peace on earth. Goodwill toward men.
We pause now for station identification.
You're listening to KECA Los Angeles.
The curtain rises on the second act of Louisa M. Alcott's classic story, Little Women, starring Katharine Hepburn as Jo and featuring Oscar Homolka as Professor Baird, John Lodge as Brooke, Frances Reed as Meg, Judith Parrish as Amy, Susan Douglas as Beth, and Elliot Reed as Laurie. It's a few weeks later in the home of the Marches.
Get ready, Bethy. Here comes Father now. Oh, Daddy comes marching home again, hooray, hooray. Daddy comes marching home again, hooray, hooray. The girls will sing and the boys will shout and the ladies, they will all turn out and all feel gay when Daddy comes marching home.
To think I've heard my four girls singing together again. How good that sounded with my little Beth at the piano again. Are you all right, Beth?
Oh, yes, Father.
But now, Father and Bethy are going back to bed. Come, Beth.
Yes, Mommy. It was so good to get up and all be together again.
The most joyful reunion party that ever happened.
Now you must rest, both of you.
We'll go with you, Beth. Thanks, Meg. Amy.
Come, dear.
Come in.
Joe, why so solemn-faced about a celebration?
It's wonderful they're both getting well.
Well, then why the gloomy countenance?
This house is full of suspense and foreboding. There's an unfinished matter to be settled. It hangs over us like a sword.
You mean Brooke and Meg?
Yes. Mommy came back calling Mr. Brooke John.
Really?
Down in Washington, he spoke to her and Father, wondered if he might, at the proper time, address his attentions to Miss Margaret. They said yes.
Wonderful. Well, have you finally reconciled yourself to the idea?
Of course I haven't. I hate it.
Why, Joe, do you want me to make you a wager? I'll wager you'll be next, Joe.
Please, Laurie, don't say that. Don't you see what's happening? Our whole family is going to smash.
Don't be so melodramatic about it, Joe. I guess I'd better let you get over your gloom, so I'll clear out. What? Joe, look there in the hall. Old Brooke left his umbrella in your umbrella stand, the sly dog. I'm sure it's an excuse to come back at the proper moment.
Miss Margaret.
Oh, Mr. Brooke.
Forgive the intrusion. I hope it's not untimely. I came to inquire about your father. That is, I came for my umbrella. That is,
He's in the umbrella stand. I mean, it's doing very nicely, thank you.
Oh, Miss March. It's so good to see you laughing and happiness returning to this home.
We owe much of it to you, sir.
Oh, does that mean that I might share in this joy?
One surely deserves the happiness one brings to others.
Margaret,
Mr. Brooke.
Are you afraid of me, Margaret?
How can I be afraid of one who's been so good to Father?
Margaret, do you suppose, is it possible? Can it be? Oh, Margaret, I love you. I love you.
Now look, Joe, I've been trying to talk to you.
I know you have,
You
Laurie.
keep running away from me.
I know I do.
Now, sit still for a moment, Joe. We've got to have this out.
No, let's not, Laurie. We're such good friends. Don't you see?
I don't see. That's just what I mean. Oh, look, Joe. After a little more schooling, Grandfather's going to put me to work in one of his offices and...
Laurie, please don't go on.
But this is what I've been trying to say.
I wish you wouldn't.
Joe, for months I've been in and out of this house. Do you think I had any reason for coming except to see you? I love you, Joe. Won't you marry me?
That's what I was afraid of.
Why?
Oh, Laurie, I didn't want it to come to this. I so much wanted that you shouldn't get hurt. You've meant so much to me that...
But that's what I mean, Joe. What we mean to each other.
Laurie, I don't love you.
Well, couldn't you learn to?
No. Love doesn't come that way. I'm so terribly sorry.
Well, this is kind of a jolt. I've banked on this for such a long time.
You mustn't anymore, Laurie.
This isn't something a person can just put aside. I'll ask you again, Joe.
And so you see, Mommy, I've got to get away.
Away?
I'm so horrid and restless, and with things as they are with Laurie, I've got to leave.
What do you want to do, dear?
Mommy, you remember that Mrs. Kirk and her 2 children? She went to New York to start a boarding home.
Yes?
Well, I thought I might write to her and ask for a position as governess. Then I could be in New York and get more ideas for stories. I've sold 3 stories now, and I'm sure I could get along. That's what I want to do, Mommy. I've got to get away.
Perhaps it would be best for both you and Laurie.
Poor Laurie. I feel as if I'm stabbing my best friend.
Well, I want you to value your freedom till you tire of it, because only then will you learn there is something better.
Oh, thank you, Mommy. You see, I want action, not love. I wrote to Mrs. Kirk, and she gave me a position. I arrived in New York on a clear fall day, and I felt the world was before me. My room was a skylight room with a simple bare table to work at. Mrs. Kirk's children were a handful, but my evenings were my own, and then I worked like a demon. At first, I didn't speak very much to other people at the boarding house. But one day, a man was playing a piano in the parlor. I stopped, standing in the doorway, listening. He was an Austrian professor.
Oh, excuse me. I did not see you.
Oh, please don't stop. It's so beautiful. What's the name of it? I'd so love to send it to my sister Beth.
The music is Tchaikovsky for a poem by Goethe. Nur wer die Sehnsucht kennt, weiß, was ich leide.
Nur wer die
Wait, I give you in English. None but the lonely heart can know my sorrow. Alone and parted, far from joy and gladness, my senses fail. A burning fire devours me. None but the lonely heart can know my sadness.
My senses fail. A burning fire devours me. He means he can hardly bear the beauty in his heart because of his longing.
That is it. And Tchaikovsky felt that as you feel it. And so he makes this music that is so heartbreaking and so beautiful.
How I wish I could write something like that. Something splendid that would set other hearts on fire.
That is genius. It is not given to all, that so divine gift. But you wish to write, my little friend?
Yes, I do. That's my longing. And I'm not doing too badly. I've sold 2 stories since I've been here.
That is good, good. Could I read them, perhaps?
Oh, would you? I'd so love to have your opinion.
I should be happy. You have the ardent spirit. I like that. Where have these 2 stories appeared?
A magazine, The Weekly Volcano.
Weekly volcano? I do not think I know this.
You probably haven't come across it.
You let me have the stories. I would love to read them.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Morning, Miss March.
Good morning, Mamie. Mamie, are you going in to clean the professor's room?
Try to. Kind of hopeless, if you see what I mean.
I see what you mean.
Books, papers.
Pipes and old flutes. What's that half-finished boat over there?
Something he was making for the kids. He's always making something. Come in, that's all right. Everybody walks in down here. He likes it.
Oh, no. I just wanted to leave my stories for him. Only I don't know where to put them. They'd be lost in all this.
Up there on the mantelpiece. He'll see them there.
With these books?
Sure.
Shakespeare, Dante, Homer, Plato? I wouldn't dare. Oh, well, there they go. The Weekly Volcano, The Greek Slave, or Constantine the Avenger, etc.
Look, the poor man.
Why, he's been donning his own socks.
Sure, there ain't nothing he don't do. Always working, always helping somebody. You know what he's doing here, don't you?
No, what?
We found out by accident. He's really a famous professor from the University of Vienna, mind you. And he left that and came over here to look after his 2 orphan nephews. Oh, what he don't do for those children. Such a good man. He'd probably be in some university here, and he came not knowing much English, so he stays here and gives lessons.
Mamie, give me a couple of those socks. He needn't know. I'll fix them up, and you can slip them back when they're done. But, don't tell him, please.
Not a word.
Miss March? Josephine March?
What is it, Mrs. Kirk?
Some visitors here for you.
Oh, yes, I'll be right down.
They're in the parlor.
Amy, Joe, and Aunt Marge.
Good afternoon, Josephine.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you. What a wonderful surprise. How did it happen? What's it about? Oh, I'm so happy. Joe, you look fine.
So do you, and you too, Aunt Marge.
Stuff and nonsense. I don't do anything of the sort. I'm an old woman and my bones are gouty. Why should I go around looking like a young chit?
You do to me, Aunt Marge.
Rubbish, utter rubbish.
How is Mommy and Father?
And how is Bethy?
Beth is better, but she's not as rosy as she used to be.
Oh, why doesn't my Bethy get strong?
I don't know. Joe, guess where we're off to?
Where? Tell me.
Europe. Oh, Amy, how wonderful.
Yes, we're taking my old bones to Vichy to try the waters. I'm taking Amy for the trip.
Also to look after you.
Nonsense, I can look after myself. All I seem to do is to provide transportation for your impoverished family. Trips to Washington, trips to New York, trips to Europe.
You're awfully good to us, Aunt Marge.
Well, I don't mean to be. And it wouldn't be necessary if you weren't all so addle-pated. Meg gets married. She doesn't marry. A poor tutor, yes, she does. And you snub the wealthiest young man in town. Mark my words, someday you'll all learn to take my advice.
Maybe we will, Aunt Marge.
Joe, did you see Laurie when he was here?
Laurie? In New York?
You mean he didn't come to see you?
No, I never saw a sign of him.
He went on a business trip with his grandfather. They're in Paris now. Maybe we'll see them there. But he'll be back home soon.
Laurie in New York and never came to see me.
Well, what do you expect, you willful girl, after the way you treated him?
We were such good friends.
He was awfully hurt, Joe, when you left. But he still loves you. Oh, Joe, if you just let him know, somehow I know he'd...
No, Amy, it's nothing like that.
Do you want to go in my place, Joe? You ought to, really, and then maybe you'd see him. And...
Oh, no, of course not. I wouldn't think of it.
Well, we have to be at the steamship office before it closes. Come, Amy.
Come in. Oh, Professor.
Miss March, I have read these stories. You would like perhaps to discuss them?
Oh, yes, I would like to. Come in, won't you?
Good.
You look a little frightening. Did you like the stories?
I must be honest. I was disappointed.
You were?
Now, this, what is it called?
The Curse of the Coventrys, Constantine the Avenger?
Yes. Miss March, why do you write these artificial characters? Villains, vipers, murderesses, witches. Oh, such women. Miss March, why don't you...
Well, I tried.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to hurt you. What a blundering fool I am. Forgive me.
Please, it isn't that. Don't pay any attention to me.
It's just that I've made a mess of everything as I always do.